doing better with people who are definitely going on election day?
So Trump is doing better with people that say that they'll be voting tomorrow on election day. He's up 51% to Harris's 44% with those voters. So about 7 points ahead. Now, in our polling, 51% of voters indicated that they would vote early, and 41% indicated that they were planning to vote the day of the election, and 8% said we're not planning to vote, or they are kind of on the fence. Maybe they will vote, maybe they want ambivalent. I would voters, I would call them. And so fundamentally, what that translates to, and I've kind of done the math, is Trump has about a 3.2 to 3.5 percentage point lead in the day of voting. And Harris has a 5% advantage in early voting, right? She's leading the early voters, which are, as I said, about 51% of the electorate, or estimated to be about 51% of the electorate, by 11 points. 9 points, 44% to 53%. And so that roughly translates to an advantage of about 5 percentage points. So again, when you do the math, the delta, the difference is about 1.5 points overall. And the big question is, will Trump be able to convince voters that are not planning to vote, with whom he's doing better than Harris, to go out and vote? Will he be able to turn out more voters than are expected to come out and vote? And, I would note that Trump always closes very strongly in races and in elections. In 2020, Biden was up 7 points in the Real Clear Politics average, and he managed to win by a very, very tight margin across several different states. And overall, nationally, that advantage fell from 7% to about 4%. And a similar picture for Clinton in 2016. She was up in the Real Clear Politics average 3.2%. And while she did win the national vote, it was by less than that margin. And again, Trump managed to win in 2016 in the state polling. So this is all to say that Trump closes strong. He's able to bring in voters that don't usually vote, able to turn them out the day of the election, the couch potato voters, as we've talked about before. And ultimately, to some extent, the national polling doesn't matter. It will all come down to the state polls, which we'll talk about tomorrow morning ahead of the final votes being cast. And that's where really we need to pay attention on, because right now it's razor thin differences, 1 percentage points here or there, that we're seeing in the national poll.
And I want to talk about those battleground states, obviously, but first let's talk a little more about those couch potato voters, those low propensity voters. Those, the data suggests now, would skew Trump, are Trump supporters. It's just the art of getting them off the couch to the polls on election day. How is Trump doing at turning them out? Is he making any inroads in convincing them they need to get to the polls on Tuesday?
Well, the trend in our overnight polls is showing that Trump is closing the gap with Harris. So Wednesday to Thursday, Harris had a 2 point advantage over Trump. This is last week. Thursday to Friday, it was an even tie at 48% each. And then Friday to Saturday was an even tie, 48% each. So we're looking at the 3-day rolled average because it gives us more sample to analyze smaller groups, smaller voting groups. But the trend that we are seeing is that Trump is closing strong, heading into Tuesday. And again, that's very important for his campaign because it all comes down to turnout, the turnout of Republican voters, and it also comes down to making sure that these 8% of voters that are registered but say that they're ambivalent, they're not really planning to go and vote. Trump has a 3-point lead with those voters over Harris, and also a slight lead with undecided voters. They're breaking in this poll by about 2 points to 3 points for Trump. So if he's able to convince his voters to go out and vote, then that can make the difference on tomorrow on election day.
You're saying that Trump is closing strong. Harris said that she has the momentum on her side.